We're good. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Jeff. Thank you again, Aloha, for being here. What I wanted to cover, and really the purpose of this session today, we want to provide high-level executive guidance on how you think about governance. We're not going to talk about academic, technical governance, how often you should back up your servers, but more from a perspective of what are some of the strategies you can take as you go back to organizations and think about how you put together a solid governance plan for your organization. So for the first session, what I want to look at and talk about is in the area of SharePoint. So I assume most of everyone has SharePoint. Who's still on 2003? 2007? 2010? 2013? Think about it. Very nice. Very good. On-prem? Cloud? Yeah. Hybrid? Anybody on hybrid? All right. So a lot of these terms may sound familiar to you, but at the end of the day, while SharePoint is great, here's the dirty little secret. SharePoint doesn't matter. Business matters. Don't fail to remember that. And we get so caught up on technology that we always forget that at the end of the day, what business value can this platform bring? So to start off our conversation, again, my name is Dr. Raymond Tsai. I'm based out of Washington, D.C., and I help a lot of our customers drive strategy and solutions, how they get the business benefits out of their SharePoint investment. I've been working in this field since 2000, both commercially and the public sector arena, and I've seen a lot and really helped a lot of organizations think through how they put together a solid strategy. What do you think these numbers mean? Anybody? Telephone number? Maybe. Anybody else? How much money I have? That was true. I won't be here. No, I'm just kidding. What do you think these numbers mean? Anybody? Chris, what do you think numbers mean? Any number, secret code, phone number, account number, yeah, social security number, yes? Integers, random numbers, okay? What does that mean? Collaboration, BI, extranet, intranet, knowledge sharing. Don't you love it when you ask somebody what SharePoint means, you get 10,000 freaking answers? Well, it's kind of like collaboration. It's kind of like document management. And then people have assumptions of what it is. Hey, where's that HR policy manual? It's in SharePoint. Where's that project status? It's in the SharePoint. What's your mom's name? SharePoint. Right? That is the fundamental flaw of a lot of implementations of SharePoint. What is it for you? What if I told you that those numbers are arranged in alphabetical orders? 8, 5, 4, 9, 1, 7, 6, 3, 2, 0. What's the rule of the Fight Club? Number one rule. You don't talk about the Fight Club. Same rule with SharePoint. You don't talk about SharePoint. You got to get everybody on the same page as to what the business is about. And we fail to do that. Embarrassing. You see, what we do today, especially as IT organizations, large enterprises, this is the MO. Oh, we just got SharePoint 2013, and let's pilot it. Because some of the IT guys doesn't have to do anything. So why don't you fire up a virtual machine, download it from MSDN, and play with it on your machine that you're not using. Let's set up Hyper-V. Cool. IT guy plays with it. This is cool stuff. Social. I'm going to ping my buddy in marketing. Hey, check this out. 2013. Yammer. Social. The marketing guy loves it. Let me hit up the sales guy. We can start using this. Yes? 2 weeks later, suddenly you got intranet up and running. 5 weeks later, 60,000 sites. Permissions up the wazoo. I can't find my stuff. SharePoint sucks. Yes? If somebody tells you again, when you go back to work tomorrow, that SharePoint sucks, look at them straight in the eye and say, SharePoint doesn't suck. You suck. It's a freaking tool. Right? You see, our problem is we take a very, you know, I can't blame anybody for this, a very traditional IT, top-down, here's the technology, go have fun, and what do we end up with? I have two wonderful kids. My daughter, Danica, she turned 3. And when she turned 3, she's into princesses. I bought her a box of Rapunzel puzzle. And I was quite disappointed when I gave it to her because she didn't read the instructions. She just cracked open the box and started playing. Don't you hate it when kids do that? 3 minutes later, she started crying, frustrated. I can't put this together. I'm not going to play with this. I'm going to go back to my old Barbie doll. Well, that's what's going on. Hey, users, we got SharePoint. Have fun. Don't bug us. Live the promise of collaboration. Not. It's too much work. I'm just going to use email. I'm going to keep sending attachments. 80% of global SharePoint deployment is nothing but a big file dump, unfortunately. It's the most expensive file share out there, called SharePoint. This is a 12-year-old technology. I'm sure a lot of you know the power of the platform, yet it's a file share in most organizations. This look familiar, right? Where it's just growing and growing like mushrooms. Pilot becomes production. And this is the most interesting part. You get very technical developers who doesn't know anything about SharePoint, and you tell them to do stuff in SharePoint, it's like an insult. SharePoint? We don't do SharePoint. We're .NET developers. We Visual Studio stuff. SharePoint's end users. Then they go off and start customizing, building stuff. Well, it may work today. When the next service pack comes in, it's broken. Doesn't happen, right? So if you talk to a so-called SharePoint expert and the first thing out of their mouth is, we can start building it in .NET, poser alert. Yeah? So this is the sad reality we live in. And there's a lot of talks around governance, right? I'm sure you hear the G word all the time. Yet in some cases, in a lot of cases, for some reason, it brings a negative connotation. So let's get it straight. How does Microsoft think about SharePoint governance? So I'd like for you to read this with me. I just took this off from the Microsoft website. So when I count to 3, you're going to read this with me, loud and clear. 1, 2, 3. SharePoint governance is what a concept. Cooperate. IT working with a business. A wise man once said, collaboration in SharePoint doesn't start when you start using the SharePoint. Collaboration begins as soon as you think about utilizing the platform. And more importantly, I highlighted this. What's the purpose of your governance strategy? Is to achieve business goals. Every time I walk into organizations and they're doing an upgrade or large planning, I say, can you show me your SharePoint governance strategy? They go, of course. They gave me some printed document in which I know what that came from. I said, you just downloaded this from the Microsoft site, right? Yeah, isn't that what we're supposed to do? Yeah, when we needed governance, we went to Microsoft, downloaded a template, filled in the blanks, emailed it around, boom, we've got governance. We live in a great country. Our great country, we have freedom, we're governed by rules and laws. What if our forefathers who came up with the Constitution decided one day, hey, we need a Constitution. Let's go to constitution.com, fill in the blanks, get your signatures, and now we have Constitution. What do you think we'll be doing today? It doesn't work that way. The template is there for you to look at, but to build upon how to meet your business needs and business goals. And that's why I want to highlight this, because as the maturity in SharePoint usage is growing, the more importance there is around governance. So this is an actual research, not just on SharePoint governance, but on information governance by Gartner. And in organization, by 2016, 20% of CIOs in regulated industries, which means a lot of you, the public sector, financial sector, commercial entities, will lose their jobs for failing to implement the discipline of information governance. And SharePoint is becoming a critical part of this picture. Because governance not only talks about policies, responsibilities, but it can also drive and secure compliance. Organizations today I walk into, I would ask, for example, if they have to comply with HIPAA. You folks familiar with HIPAA? Yeah, healthcare. Can I find somebody's personal identifiable information in your SharePoint-based intranet? No, you cannot, because we said you can't do that. Can you prove it? I run a quick search on my social security, boom, up it comes. How did you put a governance structure around that? Or maybe you didn't. You see, when we talk about SharePoint governance, at the end of the day, we got to go back to the basics of what is it about. We're putting this together to help us achieve our business goals, our mission. And I'm going to share with you 3 specific steps as decision makers and executives on how you do this. The first step is you have to identify and prioritize what your business needs are. And what I mean by this, before you even fill out that governance template, think about what your business needs are. Because your business needs would drive what your governance structure and strategy looks like. So how do I do that, Docs? Typical organizations, when they roll out SharePoint, so they have SharePoint as a platform. I'll talk more about that in a second. But commonly, the first usage of SharePoint is an intranet. You know, I get that. It's cool. But then beyond using it as an intranet, how can you maximize this platform to meet your business needs? And the way you do that is you think about business solutions. You don't want to go around with a fast food-like approach. How do you like your SharePoint? Team site, surveys, wikis, you want to supersize it? Next! That's what we do. You know, the marketing team would take it, yeah, give me one of them team site like the sales guys have. But what business needs are you fulfilling there? We got to be honest with ourselves and stop talking about this idea of collaboration and document management. That's too broad. What does collaboration mean for Mike, who's in sales for SLG? Right? I was advising a large organization a couple years ago. They're going to do a 2013 upgrade. The project manager was like, Docs, what do you think about this? You know, in 2013, we're going to turn on wikis, Yammer, social, tagging. I go, whoa. Why? Just like you, they're very quiet, which makes me insecure as an immigrant to the United States, and my English is not good enough. I asked another question. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? What are you talking about? Why are you taking Yammer or social or wikis? Why? Isn't that the new thing? I mean, Microsoft's pushing this. The business says they want this social smoshal. What does that mean to Miss Sally in accounting who's processing expenses every month? Tell me. If you cannot answer that fundamental question, don't do it. You see, we fall into this trap of showing the nice shiny object. Oh, look at our expensive Ferrari. We paid a lot of money for EA. Microsoft made a lot of money. And then our users come to the garage, look at this nice car. Wow, this is cool. And then 10 minutes later, they realize, I just learned how to ride a bike yesterday. Called Excel and email. That gets me to work. I don't have time to figure out this thick Ferrari. It's nice, so I'm going to leave it in the garage and just put all my files there. And I'm going to still go back to work with my bike, Excel, and email. You know, email and Excel is the most mission-critical business tool ever to this day. Because our failings as an organization is we pitch the bright, shiny object. So how do we address that? How do we come up with business solutions versus pitching the bright, shiny object? You always start with low-hanging fruits. And I'm guilty of this as a technologist. As IT, we get caught up in complex stuff. Ooh, let's hook up SharePoint with our CRM, SAP, run DMC. Yeah, tough crowd here. Well, it's early. But we fail to think about the people in the front lines who has pain day in, day out, and these aren't complex pains. to us IT, whatever. Improving meetings, that's below me. I don't deal with helping people improve their meetings. Improve how they do reporting, that's easy. They'll figure it out. I want to start doing .NET stuff, looking at web services. Well, that's important, but if you don't win the hearts of the frontliners, it's a hard battle. So what I highly recommend is you facilitate this idea on how you drive purposeful collaboration, right? Think about common pain points. You know, the #1 business use case of SharePoint, other than sharing files, is for project collaboration. I mean, a lot of companies, and I'm sure in yours too, people use their team sites so they can collaborate on projects, put documents, tasks, and whatnot. And then second most important thing is you don't want to take away what people are comfortable with. You know, the wrong approach, and I've kind of changed my thinking already. Used to be, I would tell people, forget Outlook, forget Excel, just go to the browser and use SharePoint straight up. No. You gotta consider that the hardest part about all this is not SharePoint, it's change. It's making people change. They love their email, they love their Excel, well guess what? Let them continue using it. Complement it in SharePoint. Those are your friends, and those are an easy entry for people to embrace maximizing SharePoint. And go after low-hanging fruits. Again, common things that you know you can help right away. So let me show you an example of how this looks like in the context of project collaboration. How can we help people improve how they manage projects? Because you know the #1 project management tool today is still, want to guess what? What's the #1 PM tool? Excel's #3. Email. A 1973 technology that wasn't designed to help you manage projects. No way, docs. Where's that status report? Let me check my email. Where's that expense? Let me check my email. But what if you can take that further, improve that, and use SharePoint to power this whole activity? So watch this quick video or demo, and let me make sure I bring this up and see what it may look like.
Alex. He and I are working on putting together a presentation for our boss. Thanks to SharePoint 2013, we're able to easily centralize and manage all related artifacts and communications for this project. On a typical day, Alex would start working from home using his Mac. He would check his email from a browser and start work from there. Looks like Alex is reviewing the tasks for the project, and he has some questions for me about the project. Just by using the browser, he's able to instant message me using technologies like Link. One of the key benefits of SharePoint 2013 is a deep integration with existing tools that we already use, like Microsoft Office, smartphones, and even web-based technologies. So even if I'm out and about, I'm still not at the office yet, I can easily respond to Alex on my phone and update my task. The beauty with SharePoint 2013 is that I can continue working with Alex once I get to the office. You just assign me a task on the project site, and look at what happens. It automatically shows up on my task list in Microsoft Outlook. Isn't that cool or what? Additionally, within Outlook, I can email the entire team directly using this neat feature called Site Mailbox. The Site Mailbox is available not only in Outlook, but it's the same Site Mailbox that the team can see and interact with directly on the project site. The Site Mailbox also provides visibility to all the documents I have in the project site. So what do you think? Are you excited? I am.
So just kind of extending that example. So let's think about what just happened here. In this day and age, we talk about making people use tools that they already know. We live in the world BYOD. Alex, our friend, loves his Mac. I see another Mac person here. Good job. Yeah, I just said that with Microsoft people.
That's right, you're running Windows. You're running Windows.
Yeah, that's right. I'm still paying licenses. Right? So I'm not forcing him to change his behavior. In fact, from home, he can use his personal machine, log in, check his email. Talk to me. integrated tools. So it's not just about SharePoint. The idea is how do we get our work done, this project, faster, better, sooner? Right? You check this email. I am me. I got it on my phone. Oh, you got to update your task docs. Okay, I'm 100% done. Update my task on my phone, which updated the project schedule, which is visible on that SharePoint site. I didn't have to go to 10,000 places. Oh, I need to update it here. I need to update it there. Oh, did I update it there? You don't do that, right? That's the power of this platform. Let's take it further. So this is that project site. And let's say part of the process in the organization, at the end of the month, and this actually happened in one of the customers I worked with before, there's this organization that we helped put together. SharePoint is a project management platform. By the way, I wrote the book SharePoint for Project Management. You guys read that book? Not yet? Okay, I'm going to give everyone a copy. You like that? That's 80 cents less a copy for my son, but that's cool. I'll send everyone a copy. But so going back, we help an organization use SharePoint as a central project management collaboration repository. The idea is all the documents and tasks will be here. And one of the things I found out in this organization, at the end of the month, every project manager, let's say Jeff, has to send his expenses to, let's call her Miss Sally in accounting. So imagine Miss Sally in accounting at the end of the month getting 100 spreadsheets of expenses via her email, and she had to collate all this, put together a monthly project expense report for the whole company. 100 of them, all aggregated. Does that sound familiar? So I talked to Miss Sally. I said, Miss Sally, how much time do you spend doing this? Oh, I've been doing this forever, for the last 10 years, and every month I spend maybe a total of 8 hours. I go, Miss Sally, would you be interested if I can help you cut that 8 hours down, take away the manual processes, and maybe just spend 4 hours doing this? She goes, of course, but. I go, but what? I don't care if we're using that new tool, SharePoint. You see, I'm retiring in a year. If I can do it in Excel, I'm in, but if you're telling me to use a new tool, forget it. Now you know Miss Sally, right? I go, Miss Sally, that's cool. I'm going to show you a feature in Excel. She goes, what? So here's what we're going to do, Miss Sally. Instead of project managers sending you Excel spreadsheets of their expenses every month, we're going to tell them, in the spirit of having this one-stop shop, put all your expenses in this project site, and as soon as they put it in, it will automatically show up in your Excel spreadsheet sitting on your desktop. So we're just going to cut the cord on email around this. Would you like that? So you don't have to deal with checking your email. It just shows up. Would you be interested? She goes, yeah, show me. All right, so here's what we're going to do. This is a simple Excel spreadsheet, nothing out of the ordinary. I just typed in some information. So let's say for this project, we bought a projector, computer, and carpet. And what I'm going to do is I will convert this to what's called an Excel table. So as soon as I convert it to an Excel table, and keep in mind, I'm just using all of the out-of-the-box capabilities here. One of the things I can do, friends, is there's an actual add-on that I can include. So I'm just going to go to Excel, add-ins, and I downloaded this earlier from the Microsoft site. And let's see, I'm pretty sure it's on Drive C. There you go. And again, nothing out of the ordinary. So as soon as I do that, let me just save this guy. Okay. Let's copy this real quick. Oh. Okay, all right. Don't save. See? All right, so let's fire up Excel again. Man, what did Mac do? I thought Macs were perfect. There you go. No, I just switched the screen here. So let me fire up Excel. There you go. So the idea is, once Excel comes back up, it'll give me an option to take those information and publish it now to my project site. So the new process is my project manager would just come to the project site, put in their expenses, and then just show up in the Excel spreadsheet that Miss Sally is working on. So let's do that again. Oh, I copied it. Let me just type it back up. So let's say projector. All right. $200. Okay. Insert. Now, check that out. You see that, friends? Publish and allow sync. So now it's asking me, where do you want to sync this to? So all I have to do is take the web address of that SharePoint site and call this the Honolulu expenses, whatever. Okay, and hit publish. So again, friends, I'm doing all this in Excel. So what it's doing, it's taking all this information. Excel now is logging into that site using my credential. And once it's logged in, voila, this information in Excel is now available on that project site. And not only is it available on that project site, it's connected. So now the new process is project managers would just come here and say, you know what, for this project we bought a car, it's $80,000, right? And you guys know about alert. You guys remember alerts in SharePoint? So let's say there's an alert here that will alert Miss Sally, hey, a new expense was just entered. Check your Excel spreadsheet. So all she has to do is come back to her Excel spreadsheet and hit sync. And voila, that information is there. Y'all see that? And she's looking at the receipt. She goes, you didn't buy a car. You guys bought carpet. And it's $800. Not only can she see the data, she can take the information, update it, and use the tool that she's familiar with, she's comfortable with, pushing it back. Now it's synchronized to that project site, carpet, $800. Is this something that could be useful in your organization? Yes? Who doesn't know about this? Please raise your hand. Now, in case you're wondering too, wow, Dux, is this a new feature? Unfortunately not. This feature was introduced in Excel 2003, SharePoint 2003, and it's been there. Yes, sir?
So is the add-in something that comes automatically with Excel? That's something you have to add?
This is the new way.
Very good question. So the question was, is the add-in something I have to download? It came out of the box in 2003, Excel, but it's starting Excel 2007 to 2013. Just go to the Microsoft site and download this add. It's a free download. So after I showed this to Miss Sally, we extended this further, right, friends? So now we looked at, so this is for the Honolulu project. So I helped her connect it to the 99 other projects and created like a summary sheet. Now in Excel to create a summary. So as soon as expenses are entered on the project site, it just populates this on her desktop and her summary sheet gets updated. 2 months later, hey, Miss Sally, how much time do you spend doing this process now? Oh, Dux, thank you. Instead of 8 hours, I now spend 6 hours because I don't have to deal with email. I just validate the data is correct against the receipt. What do you do with the 2 hours that you now save? I'll learn how to use Facebook. That's a different issue. Yes, sir.
So does all of this has to be on the same network as Excel, right?
No, I mean, as long as Excel can reach that SharePoint site, it doesn't have to be the same network.
So firewall.
Yeah, I mean, so friends, what I'm pointing out here is before you think about governance, you have to make it real to your world, to your business. That's a very simplistic example. And now, hopefully, you start thinking about little things in your organization. You can help drive business value. Because unless the business sees value in this, they couldn't care less about governance. Y'all with me? You feel the love? Mahalo? Whatever business solution you come up with, don't keep using the word SharePoint loosely. Is it your intranet, extranet? Mike later will talk about what we've done with the state of Hawaii for their project management system sitting on the SharePoint platform. You see, when you think about SharePoint, it is a platform, and this is what it means as a platform. The intranet is just one solution on this platform. A platform not only allows you to build different business-specific solutions, bringing different business value, what people don't consider and look at is the integration with existing tools people use. And that's very powerful. We always tell people, go to the browser. Don't tell people go to use Outlook, use Excel. Because in this world of project collaboration, Miss Sally's piece is just to enter expenses. Have her add it. Just make her life better. Change is the hardest part with this, friends. And we cannot slam governance if people don't see the value and they don't change on how they do things.
What happens when Miss Sally changes her format in her spreadsheet?
I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios. So if she starts putting formulas and all that, it may work. It'll take simple formulas, but there's other options in SharePoint, right? So the crux of what I'm pointing out here is, as you think about business needs, don't pitch, Miss Sally, use SharePoint, enter it here. Miss Sally, what are you doing in this process? How much time are you spending? Can I make your life better? That's a conversation piece. And if she comes back and say, well, now I got to start putting these formulas, different currencies, okay, how does that help you? Well, it'll help me from going out there and looking at different currency formulas, whatever. Okay, we'll figure it out. You prioritize your business needs. Once you identify these business needs, I highly suggest you pick the low-hanging fruits first, because that's high impact, low risk. You're not going to start hooking databases up, different systems, spending a lot of money. Take these little things. And off of these different business needs, the next step on how you ensure SharePoint delivers business value is put together your governance plan. Microsoft has a good template that you can start with, but most of that template focuses on the technical aspects of governance. Okay? You want to make it relevant. You know, like today, I'm pretty sure that if I ask you, most of you would say, yeah, we've got governance. But let me ask a different question. Who in this room has read the Constitution page to page? I'm so embarrassed being an American, but I haven't. You haven't, right, Chris? Why not? Why haven't you read the Constitution page to page?
I don't know. Good question.
Time? It's just not, to me, it's not relevant. I mean, I appreciate what our forefathers did, but to me, it's not relevant.
Do you vote?
What's that?
Do you vote?
I do vote.
You should be
Exactly.
next vote.
Exactly. And I understand that. But that's the same point when we talk about governance. While we have SharePoint governance, our users don't really know what it is, and they don't really care. But guess what? I know the governance around stoplights. I know the governance around tax season's coming up, because it directly impacts my day-to-day life. I know the governance that upper management has put upon me that I have to be home by 10 p.m. during the week. My wife, that's upper management. Or else I'll be in trouble. So what I'm suggesting here is you make it relevant, because at the end of the day, you want to be in this middle ground where you govern people's empowerment capabilities, and it has to be relevant. You don't want to be here where it's too draconian. I've been in organizations where to upload a file to a document library, they have to fill in a ticket request. Can I upload this PowerPoint? I've seen that. It's in your organization, right, sir? You're laughing there. And then most of us are in this wild, wild west chaos bucket, where free for all, anything goes. It's just crazy. So how do you make it relevant? You don't push that piece of document. You don't say, here's the SharePoint governance document, you should read it. You integrate with overall business and IT governance, and here's the key part, especially to the business. Make it a part of their role and responsibility. For example, when you do your SharePoint training, one of the things I highly recommend is not only do you train people on how they use the tool, but you also talk to them about what's expected of them. And that's something we fail to do. Oh, you're a site owner, or you're a site collection admin, these are all the things that you can do, have a good life. You're an end user, this is how to use list libraries, have a great life. What should happen is, you're a site collection admin, here's how you do stuff, and by the way, being a site collection admin, here's what you're responsible for. I believe in the concept of one-page bullet point governance, specific to the individual. And I'll show you an example in a second. That's how you can drive business value. Because while people see how useful SharePoint is that can help their business day-to-day needs, with great power comes great responsibilities, Spidey. Governance is a living, breathing process. You have to strike the balance between what the business needs are. So You don't want to make it too hard that it's just too much to do. You tell me I have to fill out this form, check every box, forget it. I'm just going to use email. But you also have to think about how much your technology can handle, how much you want to bend or customize or invest in other products to meet this balance. Imagine if you can make a business case, sir, you know what, if we invest on the right technology to enforce governance, that means we don't have to hire 3 people and all they do is create sites. That means that Miss Sally can save 3 hours every month in doing this one process. When you put together your strategic governance plan, you think about the processes that's involved. So here's a good example. This is an example of a site life cycle in SharePoint. So we're looking at an example on technical governance. You know, you create a site, the site's being used. What if it's not being used and once the site is done? So today, the way it works, if you create a site, somebody creates a site, they get excited for 2 months. Once the project is done, it just sits there. It gets orphaned. Y'all with me? And you have a lot of those. And when it's cleanup time, because the database is filling up, you've got more content databases than you need, you're scratching your head, okay, which one do I chuck, which one do I keep, right? What does your governance say? Your governance say, any ad hoc sites, it should be cleaned up in 2 months if it's not being used. The SLA says, you know, for these kinds of sites, high profile, under compliant, it should be backed up regularly. But how do you execute it? So you got to think about these different processes on what the possibilities are. Other than site creation, think about processes around user management. Think about content recovery, compliance issues, PCI considerations. How much governance you put in, and I want to remind you, is dictated by what the business needs are. If there's a compliance mandate that you have to meet, then make your governance policy or strategy suitable for that need, right? And this is just another sampling on, you know, the higher the visibility is, like your main internet portal, the more stringent you may be. But for anything that's personal, ad hoc, the less stringent you may want to put governance upon it. Is this helpful, friends? All this stuff useful so far? Okay. The third step. So once you put your governance strategy together, so let me show you an example. And by the way, anything I showed you, all this session, the session today is being recorded, so we'll send you the PowerPoint, we'll send you the video. All these little templates and stuff I'm showing you, you'll get a copy of it. It'll be $100 a download. Just kidding. I'm trying to meet my quota here, Jeff, you know. So let me show you an example. So here's a dummy governance document of an organization, and I cleaned up some of the stuff. So it covers both technical governance, so what you should do on your databases, how much you should back it up. But what I want to highlight here, where is that thing? Here we go. Is the area of roles and responsibility. So there you go. So let's just do this, okay? So as a part of my big governance document, all right, there's a whole process around people becoming a site manager. In this organization, we help put together governance around, okay, how do people request site? What are the requirements to be a site manager? What kind of training do they need to take? What are their responsibilities? So if you're a site manager, these are your responsibilities. And this information is embedded in their training. And in fact, this is their first encounter with the word governance. We're not going to show the site manager this big document. I mean, it's there if they want to look at it, but for all intensive purposes of their role and responsibility in the grand scheme of SharePoint, this is it. And guess what? People understand this, they take it, it doesn't overwhelm them. You still have that big document, but separate people's roles and responsibilities. The third step on how you deliver business value, having the right SharePoint governance in place, is now you facilitate governance. So that's we identified our business needs. Based on those business needs, we develop our governance plan around it. So how do we execute this? Okay? To facilitate governance, to drive governance, is first and foremost work with other business units outside of IT to push this. Corporate communications and HR, they do a fantastic job in driving messaging to your organization. Because there's this perception, if it's coming from IT, it's boring, it's very, draconian, I don't really care about them. But if it's coming and well crafted by corporate communications and HR, you work with them, you can better drive the message. Deliver contextual training. When we talk about training, I know a lot of organizations have training around end user training, power user training, site collection administrator training. While those are important, I highly encourage you to put together contextual training around specific business needs. So for example, in the video I showed earlier, you can put a training around how to use SharePoint for project management. So if you've been assigned a project, the first thing you do is you create this project site because it'll have all the templates you need for the project. Everybody with me? And if you're working with a partner or vendor, this is how you invite them to the project site. Or if you're hosting a meeting, this is how you use SharePoint for a meeting. How you use SharePoint to build reports. Think about what's in it for me versus here's a tool. Think about how you can facilitate effective change. So my pitch to Ms. Sally is I'm going to help you save 4 hours and you're still going to use Excel. Would you be interested in that? Of course. Right? How can you excite people? Tell them what their rewards and responsibilities are, and also tell them what are the rewards, the benefits, and what are the consequences. And that's the other thing. I was with another organization in DC. They're like, Ducks, how do you stop people from using the file share? We've got SharePoint there. They still use the file share. I go, kill it. Make it read-only. Right? We can't, Ducks, because it's the VP doing it. Right. So you got to step back and get those decision makers, make them understand the value, because if they don't, there's no point. You're just throwing another tool. What are the rewards and what are the consequences? Save time, save money, get more information faster, better, sooner. And if I don't do this, you're not following compliance rules. The other aspect of governance, as you facilitate this, make sure you put together a solid support structure. The traditional, if I need help, call IT support, won't cut it in this world of collaboration, fast-paced collaboration, because it takes too long. Everybody's not happy. IT's busy with complex stuff. Users can't get their job done. What ends up happening if IT doesn't satisfy them? They sign up with Box. They sign up with Google Apps or Dropbox, which you don't have any control over. Y'all with me? So when you think about support in the realm of governance, how can you put together a scalable structure where there's a way they can help themselves, and this is through little FAQ, how-tos, little videos. Put a community-based knowledge sharing and learning. And that's where Yammer is so powerful. That's where social is so powerful. Later on, Leona will talk more about that. But that's another way on how you can help users help each other and help themselves. And then IT can focus on the heavy lifting. If stuff's not working, the server's not running, and this is how you can scale it. It cannot just be one way asking IT for help all the time. And to help IT, certainly there's a lot of solutions out there, and one of the things we can help you with is we can automate a lot of these governance policies and guidelines through a lot of the tools we have. We'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. But for example, just quickly, we can have proactive enforcement. So one of the things that governance automation allows is, let's say you can put it in place, you put all the policies, and if somebody requests for a site, so let's say I'm a project manager. I fill up a request form, okay, I'm working on a new $1 million project, and it's this project code 123 that I'm working on, and I hit submit. And instead of IT waiting for IT to build that site for me, governance automation can look at that request based on the policy. Well, Ducks is working on a $1 million project. Use this site template. Put all these documents in there, make sure the executives have permission to look at it, and guess what? It needs compliance, so make sure it's in on-prem, don't provision it in the cloud, and then in 30 minutes possibly, Dux gets his site. And as Dux is using his site, one of the rules is we won't let Dux keep changing permissions. Governance automation can watch the entire life cycle, and if I start changing permissions, item level, list level, it won't let me do it. And maybe because of compliance, I'm not supposed to put social security number. Somebody in my project starts uploading a Word document with social security in the Word document. As soon as they upload, either you're not supposed to do that, that's not part of our policy, or because of that information, we can take that document and quarantine it, somebody has to look at it. All this can be automated. And this is becoming a very important need in most organizations today. 3 steps to deliver business value with the proper SharePoint governance. Identify and prioritize business needs. Develop relevant governance plan. And then as IT, make sure you facilitate and orchestrate this governance and take advantage of solutions that are out there that can certainly help you. What do you guys think? Helpful? Thank you for listening through this presentation, and we'll be around if you have questions. But other than that, I want to hand the floor. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then once we come back, we'll have Leona talk about how do you put together a social governance strategy. Thanks again.